Why is it a religion? What's it clear? What's it mean?
Hubbard didn't make up the word interbulate, okay? It was already in the English language. Yeah.
Scientology works.
But let's correct it.
These are the times now, people. Okay?
Why is it a religion?
These are the times we will all remember.
It's just harassment.
Why is it a religion?
Just sheer harassment.
Where is Shelley Miscavige?
And it contains a goal
What's it clear? What's it
for greater freedom.
Well, whatever you have heard, if you haven't heard it from us, I can assure you, we are not what you expect. So take a look, and then decide for yourself.
Beyond the e-meter, I'm so excited to dive into this fascinating world of Scientology with you. In this podcast, we'll explore the history, beliefs, and practices of this controversial religion, and a deep exploration of the impact Scientology has had on individuals and society. So grab your headphones and join me on this enlightening journey into the world of Scientology. Scientology is a religion founded by a man named L. Ron Hubbard. Hubbard was a man who was a fiction author. He wrote a wide variety of books from science fiction to romance and fantasy, and travel and mystery. Yes, that's right. The same man who wrote fantasy and science fiction books started a religion. That's why many people think Scientology is a load of rubbish, but some don't. Some people believe in Scientology and pay a lot of money to stay a part of it. It's not just your everyday people. There are quite a lot of celebrities a part of Scientology, just to name a few: Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman and John Travolta, and a lot more. Many people don't even call Scientology a religion. They say it's more like a cult. Why? Because there have been many articles saying some suspicious things about the church. For an example, the Irish Times released an article in 2008, "Is Scientology a dangerous cult?" A quote from this was, "Head to head, yes. The manipulation methods used by Scientology to control its members put it beyond the pale of legitimate religion," says David Murphy. Another quote from this article is the Church of Scientology a dangerous cult? Absolutely. This is not a question of being intolerant of the beliefs of others. Rather, this is about recognizing a dangerous and manipulative organization for what it truly is. The Church of Scientology engages in suspicious and harassment, not only of its critics, but also of its own members. There is so many ex-members who have come out and said a lot of things about this cult. I'm going to read you a few examples of what people have said. The only thing they cared about was money. I was curious about it because I was told it had definite answers to life and wanted to compare it to former religions I grew up in. Basically, looking for the truth of life and existence. Admittedly, I paid for one extension course and the book that came with it. $55. I read the first chapter of Self-Analyze, finished the very first lesson out of 15 and just stopped. I've been getting non-stop calls, emails and texts since. They invited me to go to the actual church, but I never did. I just couldn't go any further after reading about Exhume, an evil alien figure, reading their philosophy about how children are adults, and watching all 3 seasons of Leah Remen's show, Leah Remens Scientology and the Aftermath. I did extensive research, and that's whenever I decided it was not worth spending all the money that goes along with it. It's just not believable. Brainwashing techniques. I was born into the Church of Scientology and was very involved with it until my parents, my grandparents, and I left in December of 2009. My mum was in the Sea Org when she found out she was pregnant with me. They asked her to abort me, and obviously she didn't. The Tampa Bay Times did an article about it. I did my first course at age 7 and eventually moved to LA to join the Sea Org. That didn't last. Then joined staff at my local organisation when I was 16. I ended up going to Flag Land Base in Clearwater, FL, to do my training to be a Class IV supervisor. I left while I was on the last step of my training after 18 months of full-time training when most of my family left Scientology. There was never really a time when my family was officially out and I was still in. They waited for me to come home from Florida before they left officially because they knew if they left before I was home that I wouldn't be allowed to come home. I didn't question anything growing up. Looking back, I can't believe I didn't. I think I had some superstitions, doubts, but it's all I ever knew. And Christianity didn't make sense to me, so I went with it. I didn't fully realise I didn't want to be a part of the church until I had been out for 3 months. And my mum was getting me used to the idea of being interviewed for the Tampa Bay Times article. She asked me, "When was the first time you realised that what you went through was human rights abuse?" That question is what completely sold me because it was the first time I ever realised that depriving people of sleep, making them eat rice and beans if their statistics were down for the week, making them stay up into the middle of the night cleaning or calling Australia to get donations were all brainwashing techniques. A lot of friends and family have been separated. Both my parents were Scientologists before I was born, so throughout my childhood I believed Scientology was the more correct religion. But I was sheltered from all the stuff people hate about it. I worked at the church for a couple of years, but throughout my life, whenever I brought it up, friends would assume I was joking, when I really wasn't. It's usually best to do some courses, as they're free for staff until you do a course called the Profiteering Program, which is just exercises by the sound of it. But I realised that most of the introductory courses were teaching common sense, like being nice to people and to be an extrovert and being confident. Pretty tame stuff, but they mix in some weird stuff in there as well, like how if someone in your life is against a lot of stuff you believe in, then you must either try to get them to believe in what you think is right, or you should remove all contact from them. This is important because a lot of families and friends have been separated by this idea, which made me want to quit once I found all the crap they mixed in. There are so many more stories on why people left and what people went through. That was just a few glimpses into the struggles and triumphs that shaped their lives. Okay, so what do Scientologists believe in? Well, Scientology is a religion founded by L. Ron Hubbard. They believed in the idea that humans are essential spiritual beings, known as the Tans, who have lived through past lives and will continue to live in future lives. They also believe in the concept of auditing, which involves a form of counselling to address past traumas and negative experiences. The ultimate goal in Scientology is to achieve a state of spiritual enlightenment and personal improvement. So, L. Ron Hubbard was born on March 13th, 1911, and he is not living. He did die on January 24th, 1986. Let's get to know him a bit better. L. Ron Hubbard's childhood was filled with various experiences. He was born in Nebraska and later moved to Montana with his family. He developed a love for adventure and exploring at a young age. As a child, he spent time in various locations, including Washington State and the Pacific Northwest. His upbringing influenced his later pursuits as an author and explorer. Hubbard was an officer in the Navy during World War II, where he briefly commanded 2 ships, but was removed from combat both times the last few months of his active service, were spent in hospital being treated for various of complaints. In 1953, the first church of Scientology was founded by L. Ron Hubbard. In 1954, a Scientology church in Los Angeles was founded, which became the Church of Scientology. Hubbard created Scientology at a convention in Wichita. Hubbard announced that he has discovered a new science beyond dynamics, which he called Scientology. For the goal of dynamics had been to reach a Superman state of clear, Scientology promised a change, a chance to achieve godlike powers. Hubbard introduced a device called electrothermometer, or as they call it now, an e-meter, which he called for users to hold 2 metal cans in their hands to measure changes in the skin due to various in sweat or drip. Hubbard presented the e-meter as having an almost magical power to reveal an individual's innermost thoughts. In December, Hubbard gave a 70-hour series of lectures, yes, 70 hours, that was attended by 38 people, in which he delved into the lectures, where Hubbard connects practices of Scientology. During the Philadelphia course, Hubbard joked that he was the Prince of Darkness, which was met with laughter from the audience. On December 16, 1952, Hubbard was arrested in the middle of a lecture for failing to return $9,000, which withdraw from the Witcher Foundation. He eventually settled the debate by paying $1,000 and returned a car belonging to Witcher Don Purcell. So, why are there so much controversy around this church? Why did people start even thinking it's a cult in the first place? Well, since its inception in 1954, the Church of Scientology has been involved in several controversies. The church's aggressive attitude in dealing with his enemies and critics, allegations of mistreatment of members, when mainstream media outlets have reported allegations abuse of the church, have tended to deny such allegations. There are so many controversies about Scientology that it can be difficult to separate fact from fiction. Despite the controversies, followers have faith, belief in its teachings and principles, which they say have brought positive changes to their lives. Now, let's talk about conspiracies around Scientology. One of them I must talk about is, where is Shelley Miscavige, the missing wife of the Scientology leader? Okay, so David Miscavige is the second and current leader of the Church of Scientology. His official title within the organisation is Chairman of the Board of the Religious Technical Centre, and he has been in this position since 1987. Shelley Miscavige, the wife of David Miscavige, has not been seen in public for several years, leading to concerns about her whereabouts. Despite repeated inquiries and requests for information, Scientology officials have not provided any details about her location or well-being. Michelle Miscavige, the wife of Scientology leader David Miscavige, hasn't been seen in more than a decade. There's plenty of cause for concern. Now, let's talk about conspiracies around Scientology. One of them I must talk about is, where is Shelley Miscavige, the missing wife of the Scientologist leader? Okay, so David Miscavige is the second and current leader of the Church of Scientology. His official title within the organisation is Chairman of the Board of the Religious Technical Centre, and he has been in this position since 1987. Shelley Miscavige, the wife of David Miscavige, has not been seen in public for several years, leading to concern about her whereabouts. Despite inquiries and requests for information, Scientology officials have not provided any details about her location or well-being. Michelle Miscavige, the wife of Scientology leader David Miscavige, hasn't been seen in more than a decade. There's plenty of cause for concern. In August 2007, Michelle Miscavige, the so-called First Lady of Scientology and wife of David Miscavige, the religious leader, had attended her father's funeral. Then she mysteriously disappeared. To date, what exactly happened to Shelley Miscavige remains unknown. Through rumours that she was sent to one of the organisation's secret camps, Scientology spokespeople insist that their leader's wife is merely living out of the public eye, and the Los Angeles police called to investigate her disappearance also concluded that no investigation was necessary. Yet Shelley Miscavige's continued absence has continued to raise questions. Her disappearance has triggered her life, her marriage to David Miscavige, and the inner workings of Scientology itself. Shelley was not one to step out of line. A former Scientologist who knew Shelley in childhood told the Daily Mail she was always kind of in the background. She was very loyal to Hubbard, but she was not one that you could say, take this project and run with it, because she wasn't experienced enough or had enough street smarts about her to make her own decisions. Regardless of her abilities, Shelley soon found a partner who believed in Scientology as much as she did, the volatile and passionate David Miscavige, whom she married in 1982. But as David rose to power, eventually coming to lead the organisation, Shelley Miscavige found herself in danger, according to a former Scientology member. The law is, the closer to David Miscavige you get, the harder you're going to fall, an ex-Scientologist told Vanity Fair. It's like the law of gravity. It's just a matter of when. By the 1980s, Shelley Miscavige's loyalty to Scientology seemed unshakable when her mother died of suicide, which some doubt. After joining a Scientology splinter group that her husband despised, Miscavige allegedly said, "Well, good riddance to that brat." Meanwhile, her husband David had ascended to the top of the organisation upon L. Ron Hubbard's death in 1986. David became Scientologist leader with Shelley at his side. As Scientology's First Lady, Shelley Miscavige took on many duties. She worked with her husband, completing tasks for him and helping to dull his temper when he raged at other members. She even reportedly led the project to find a new wife for Tom Cruise in 2004. Meanwhile, her husband David had ascended to the top of the organisation upon L. Ron Hubbard's death in 1986. David became Scientologist leader with Shelley at his side. As Scientologist First Lady, Shelley Miscavige took on many duties. She worked with her husband completing tasks for him and helping to dole out his temper when he raged at other members. She even reportedly led the project to find a new wife for Tom Cruise in 2004. However, some say that David and Shelley Miscavige had an odd, affectionate marriage. Former Scientology member told Vanity Fair and the Daily Mail that they never saw the couple kiss or hug, and in 2006 they claim Miscavige faithfully crossed her husband's path for the very last time. As the years passed, some began to grow concerns about the whereabouts of David Miscavige's wife when she failed to attend Tom Cruise's and Katie Holmes' wedding at the end of 2006. Then member Leah Remini asked aloud, "Where's Shelley?" No one knew. Several media outlets, however, have speculated that Shelley Miscavige is being held at a secret Scientology compound called Twin Peaks. There, she may be undergoing investigation, which include confessions, repentance, and submissions. She may be held there at her husband's command, or she may have chosen to stay. Either way, Shelley Miscavige has disappeared from the public eye, and some former members, like Remini, who left Scientology in 2013, are determined to find out what exactly happened to her. According to People, Remini filed a missing persons report on Shelley's behalf shortly after she left Scientology in July 2013. But Los Angeles Police Department Detective Gus told reporters the LAPD has classified the report as unfounded, indicating that Shelley is not missing. Detectives had met with David Miscavige's wife in person, though he couldn't say where or when. But even if the police had met with Shelley, some former members say that she would not have been able to speak out in her own defense. In any case, official Scientologist spokespeople insist that nothing is wrong. She is not a public figure, and we ask that her privacy be respected, a spokesperson told People. Remini's missing persons report, Scientology's officials added, was nothing more than a public stunt for Miss Remini to cook up. As such, the mystery of David Miscavige's wife, Michelle Miscavige's location continues. Is she being held against her will in a sacred compound, or has she decided to merely step out of the public eye for her own personal reasons? Given the secrecy of Scientology, the world may never know for sure. After listening, would you hop on the Scientology train or make a swift exit? I'm glad you took the time to listen to my audio. I truly hope you found it enjoyable and engaging, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoyed.